After a little bit of a hiatus, we have some juicy meat to bite into after Future Saturday at Churchill Downs, and we are on our way to Kentucky Derby 2023. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Colin Sheehan, and this is the Kentucky Derby Prep Briefing Room, where we like to do a quick news segment on what you may have missed this weekend on our trail to the 2023 Kentucky Derby. You can see the rundown to my side of me here. We're going to talk Futures Saturday. We're going to talk about Luis Saez. We'll dip into the Kentucky Oaks, and we'll look at what is up next on the Derby Trail. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope you all had safe travels, enjoyed time with your family. It's a great break, but quick off of Thanksgiving, we had a unbelievable weekend at Churchill Downs on Saturday with all 2-year-old races. The lull is now over. If you use some binoculars, you begin to see at least the story of the 2023 Derby coming into focus. And a big part of that is hopefully going to come from what we saw on Saturday. So we'll dive right into it. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss any updates. We were here with you on the very first race for Kentucky Derby points for 2023, and we're going to bring you all the way up to the first Saturday in May. But let's dive in to what we saw this past Saturday, 11/26. The first race was won easily by Determinedly at 7 furlongs. You'll notice on the past performances, I highlighted Arabian Night because in his last race, that was the impressive Baffert debut winner on Breeders' Cup weekend. I also highlighted that Determinedly has been running on the turf, but with this performance over the dirt, I would think that Mark Casse keeps him moving forward on the dirt. Race 2 was for the fillies. Michael Maker trained Towhead, who had also been running on the turf, as you see highlighted on the past performances. Showed improvement on the dirt, winning at 3-1. One thing I'd like you to take note on was number 4, the second place finisher, Mija, for Todd Pletcher. You see him closing there very nicely. This horse really acted up in the paddock prior to going out on the track and showed some greenness, but that impressive stretch run, I actually tossed him because of what I saw in the paddock in this race. You'll see what I highlighted on my past performances there, someone to keep your eye on. We skip ahead to race 5, which was a 1.125 maiden special weight for $120,000 and a third-time starter out of Gun Runner, Point Proven, trained by, again, Todd Pletcher, won this race at 2-1. I have my eye on the third-place finner, Escapeologist, who was by Curlin, who was closing really well. This horse has lost to impressive winner Tappett's Conquest and Levar, who also won his next time out. You can see the two there closing for third place. Someone to keep your eye on, that's Escapeologist. Race 8 was for 2-year-olds that had a win under their belt and included a few horses in the Derby Future pool, including Hit Show and Rocket Can, but it was Confidence Game. Confidence Game is the 6, Rocket Can is the 7 on the outside. Confidence Game at 11-1 was a really gutsy effort, holding off Luis Saez, who was on fire on Saturday, and Rocket Can, and Ken McPeak trains 10 days later, who's flying here on the outside. Confidence Game re-rallied here in the stretch, and maybe a horse that we'll also want to keep our eyes on as we march into the new year. Race 10 was back to the fillies, and we have an extremely impressive horse here, Hoosier Filly, the gray, number 4 on the outside, hardly being asked. You'll look at my notes on the last race. This horse won by 7 lengths on the wrong lead. This time was no different, hardly asked. Trainer Amos mentioned that he's been training horses since 1987, and this one is different than anything he's ever had in his barn. He is also considering the Kentucky Derby for Hoosier Filly. That will certainly be exciting. You can definitely put this horse on the trail for the Oaks. We'll see what happens as they go into next year, the maturity of that horse, to see if the Kentucky Derby for a filly is possible. Race 11 was the only official race worth Kentucky Derby points, and number 8, Instant Coffee for Brad Cox and Luis Saez. is the number 8 closing on the outside here. Instant Coffee also closed really well in the Breeders' Futurity behind Forte and Loggins. You remember that Loggins put up that quick pace in that race. Here's Instant Coffee, who will get the win on the outside. But one horse you want to keep your eye on is number 5, Red Route 1. He bounced around in the stretch. He's the number 5 with the white helmet coming between the 4 and the 9 right there. He was also in a lot of traffic. Once he got clear, he was able to make a nice little move there. So Red Route 1, a horse that you may want to keep your eye on. So with that race being the only race that affects the Kentucky Derby standings, the big impact that you'll see there is Instant Coffee in the 4th place, picking up 10 points. Hayes Strike and Red Route 1 also picked up some points. So 4, 5, and 6 on your standings there are the ones that made the movement. Forte, of course, atop that with 40 points. Also, second, Curly Jack. I'm sorry, I forgot about Curly Jack. He got second place in the Kentucky Jockey Club, picking up some points as well. The human story on Saturday was Luis Saez, who had 6 winners on the day, 1 for Mark Casse, 1 for Todd Pletcher, and 2 for Brad Cox. You remember, Luis Saez was the Kentucky Derby winner aboard Maximum Security, so he was really only a Kentucky Derby winner for 22 minutes before that horse was disqualified. It could be interesting to watch as some of these other horses face each other to see where Saez ends up. He's got himself a great possibility here going into next year. A quick look at the Kentucky Oaks standings. The big change there was Hoosier Philly picking up only 10 points in the Kentucky in the Goldenrod. However, the way that we've seen her run, it's going to be excited to see her probably easily get into the Oaks field. In case you missed it, some other news is that Frank's Honor was returned to the farm after being injured in the October 30th race that was declared a no contest when he made contact with an unfortunate fallen horse in that race. Echo again was also in that race. He was originally in the Future Pool 2 Derby Futures pool this weekend before being scratched. I think once they realized that he was back on the farm and probably going to be taken off the Derby trail at this point. Another one to note, Echo again, who was in that race, also worked out on Sunday, November 27th, 5 furlongs in the slop at Fairgrounds in 101 and 3. Another horse at the Fairgrounds is Extra Anejo. He's probably the next really one that we're excited to see, who had a big debut for Steve Asmussen. We may see his next start on 12/26 at Fairgrounds. That was the Gunrunner Stakes. Speaking of what's up next. Up next is the Remsen Stakes at Aqueduct, which is an interesting race on the trail because it's 1.125 miles. It's the longest on the juvenile schedule. Mo Donegal was the winner of this race last year, who then went on to win the Belmont Stakes. Some notable past winners include Gopher Gin, Thunder Gulch, Bluegrass Cat, and Honor Code. On the Philly side at Aqueduct is the Demoiselle Stakes, also run at 1.125 miles. Last year's winner was Nest, and the year prior was Malathat. Why is that intriguing for this year is because the full sister to Malathat, Julia Shining, is a probable starter in this race. Malathat, of course, retired, was the Breeders' Cup Distaff winner. Both of those races are your typical 10-4-3-2-1 points system. So we've certainly had an exciting weekend. We've now seen, it was a quite chalky, if you're looking at the results, a lot of the chalk and favorites won. I think that's going to set us up for something nice when those horses that were the chalk start facing off against each other, is when we're really going to see the cream rise to the top, as they say. Hoosier Philly is probably what you walk away this weekend saying, wow. Another horse that I certainly had on my radar was Victory Formation. I tweeted out a video of the stretch run with Victory Formation, very much reminded me of Loggins, set quick early fractions, was passed in the stretch. Steve Bick did a great job of pointing out Luis Saez pulling the reins, so that Victory Formation saw that horse on his outside and really did a superb job coming back. That's an exciting finish that victory formation pulled off. So as you can see, this weekend really started to give us a sense of who the players are going to be moving into next year. Stay right here on our Trust the Profits YouTube page. Please like and subscribe. This is the Kentucky Derby Prep Briefing Show. My name is Colin Sheehan. We'll be back next weekend with the results of the Remsen and Demoiselle. Keep you up to date on the standings and look forward to what's coming up after that.